Sima, the stage is yours.
Thanks. Hello, everyone, and welcome. We hope you had great holiday season and had some time to relax and to celebrate. We're happy to be here and to share with you the highlights of the first quarter major release, February release highlights. Before we're diving into the details, let's review the timelines. Next week on Sunday, Sandbox installation is going to take place, and 2 weeks from that day, production installation is going to occur. For Primo VE, it's important to note that semi-annual indexing will be ready with the production release, and a premium sandbox refresh is going to take place. What we're going to cover in the session today. In the scope of February, we're going to have the first Curve submission that is already implemented. Curve, just you are all familiar with it more than I am, as the community itself. It's the new submission system, previous NERS. So the first submission, the ability to change the default sort, is already included in February. The next enhancement in February is in the linked open data. Until now, linked open data was included bibliographic records that their headings are linked to LC, to Library of Congress authorities. We're going to enhance it and to include much more authorities using the VIAF, Virtual International Authority File. We have few great enhancements for Research Assistant, which we'll review shortly, and we have few more additional notable items. Neely is going to guide us through the NDE UI updates and status as we're getting very close to the general release, which is going to take place in May. We're going to share with you the latest materials that we added and updated, and to provide you an exciting sneak peek into May release, the next major release. Let's start with the ability to change the default sort. Until now, when the sort by was getting back to sort by relevance, when you submit different search, or obviously also between sessions. From now on, once a patron selects a specific sort by method, the dropdown that already exists, it will be persistent across searches and cross sessions. This will be the behavior for Primo Classic, for Primo VE, and of course for the NDE UI. The next enhancement is very exciting in the link open data for customers that are not using LC, Library of Congress authorities, and using different authorities. We were asked about it a lot since the major release of the link open data in Primo VE. I'll just quickly guide us through the link open data in Primo VE, what we currently have. You can see the free screenshots at the bottom. On the left, you can see the autocomplete, where persons are being suggested in addition to the title autocomplete, of course. In the middle, you can see the info cards, the linked persons when you are placed in full record page, the linked persons, which are the contributors, authors, subjects that are linked to this particular record. And on the right, you can see the person page. With this new function, not new already, with this functionality, we're allowing the user a serendipity search, a search that includes much more connectivity, in more interesting and more complete search. And how we are going to enhance it in February release. Here is the list of authority types that are going to be included. Of course, this list will be available for you in the documentation. How we are doing it. Until now, we were basing on LC, on Library of Congress ID for persons. This is how we store our index of persons. We have a huge index of persons that is based on Library of Congress data and Wikidata, but the match point is the LCIDs. And how we're going to enhance it? We're going through the LCID of a person, and then we're consulting your configuration in Alma. you have the authority names, which authority types you're using. We check which authority type the site is using, and we are finding the match in VF. In the Virtual International Authority file, we see which ID is the equivalent one. Based on these IDs, we are able to display the related bibliographic records. So when you're looking into a person page, you will be able to get the two first carousels of titles written about this person and titles written by this person. And there is also the other way around. When you are placed in a bibliographic record in a full record page in Primo VE, we introduce the info cards, and we are doing it by checking the relevant bib heading, which ID, which authority ID is stored there. We are going to VF in order to find the relevant match of LC, and with this relevant LC ID, we're displaying the relevant persons. With this new mapping, we're able to expose the link open data to much more institutions to enjoy this functionality. This requires indexing. The next enhancements are all in Research Assistant. Since the release of the Research Assistant in September, we're hearing a lot of great feedback from customers, and actually we got a lot of great feedback also before during the beta testing program, which we implemented, and also we're waiting to see more overall impression of the community and to change and to enhance functionality accordingly. And this is how we came to the first enhancement, which is the refined search. We are allowing the user to filter the results based on resource types and dates. This is the first phase of the refined search. The attributes that we selected to filter accordingly are the resource types, books, articles, and peer-reviewed, and the dates. Dates are segmented according to last 12 months, last 5 years, last 10 years, and there is also a generic field where you can add, when you can insert the precise years that you are looking for, starting from a year until a specific year. As you can see on the screen, there is the new filters button that will be available in February. When clicking on this button, the drawer of the filtering will be open with two drop downs. This is for the manual application of this new great functionality. There is two sides of it. There is the manual application over here, which you can see. And there is also an automatic application of the refined search. As you can see over here in the example, I asked the question and I mentioned based on books from 2020 to 2024. And the Research Assistant knew to filter according to this segmentation. I can see that the drop-down was filled in automatically with books selection and with custom date with the years that I requested. Based on this, we are allowing more precise search for our users. The next enhancement is the repositioning of the sources and overview. As you all know, the Research Assistant is more of a starting point for the research to begin. We're not aiming to write the paper on behalf of the student. We would like to provide them with a great starting point for their research. The overview is not everything that is matter. And this is why the overview is pretty short. We're not trying to summarize all the sources that were found. And for that, in order to put the focus on the sources, we decided to change to switch between the sources and the overview. From now on, the sources will be above the overview. So we will highlight the sources, and we keep encourage the end user to search beyond the Research Assistant, to go to view more results, to click on the sources and to explore more, because the data, the sources, is what matter here. The third enhancement in the Research Assistant is the how to cite indication. We got a lot of feedback from the community about the need to provide the users with guidelines how to cite the research, the answers, and how to cite what you're getting in the research assistant, because the citation rules for AI tools are different than what the students are used to. And this is how we came to this enhancement. It is not displayed by default. You will need to go to this configuration under the labels code table, the research assistant search screen labels, and to define the URL and the label. So here we define how to cite generated content, AI generated content. You can put over here any text and any URL that you want. So it can be totally generic, dynamic, according to your needs. If you would like to emphasize any other aspect over here for your end users, you can do it using this functionality, not only for citation guidelines. Also in the Research Assistant enhancements, we added some accessibility fixes in the area of screen reader and JAWS. As you all know, we have the beta indication next to the Research Assistant icon, and we stick to this plan because as long as we're doing massive changes, we introduce it as a beta, although a lot of customers already implement it, and this is also our expectation. We're looking for the adoption of our customers. However, during this period, which will come to its end eventually, once the changes will be much less significant, we encourage you to send us your feedback. When you have specific feedback, you obviously can fill in the thumbs up and thumb down that you see in Primo VE, in the Research Assistant itself. If it is a bug, then please open a Salesforce case. But if you would like to share with us your overall impression or some feedback that you would like us to know about, feel free to send us an email to this email address that you can see on the screen. Additional notable items. The authority search that was introduced recently until now had default sorting method where we were sorting the authorities alphabetically of the alphabetic order of the titles. We added a new drop-down where the user will be able to select either to sort according to this existing sorting method, titles, or by relevance. And now, Neely, over to you for additional notable items.
Thank you, Sima. I would like also to note, if you are in a consortia environment, please note that with regarding to searching for course material, specifically if you are searching for the following fields, course code, course name, or course instructor, so far those fields were indexed in the search and they were not institution aware. That means that you get results while searching. If you have an institution that are conducting a course in both institution, results and the results when retrieved from the network zone. Now, to avoid such cases, we make those fields institution aware. This will be available after the semi-annual indexing will be completed. So this regarding to that. We also would like to share with regarding to the accessibility. We've updated the Primo accessibility statement. It is actually based on an audit that we conducted in the summer based on the August release. So a new VPAT is also their update to reflect also the status after the August release, a new VPAT, a new statement, and also a link to accessibility roadmap that you can see that these issues, in addition to cases that you are open, are identified as our roadmap for the upcoming year. This, of course, is regarding to the Primo VE and Primo interface. I'm sharing now my screen as I would like also to share more information with regarding to the NDUI, as we also have plans to meet the accessibility standards in the NDUI. But anyhow, we would like to share more information, as we mentioned, on each quarterly, and also we are heading to the general release. We'd like to share with you what is the status and the updates with the NDUI. So where we are, you can see here the key milestones that from now on and until the general release and even after post it. So we are approaching the milestone of open the NDE for the early adopter, small group of early adopters that will get access on top of the February release to the NDE. They will be able to set up their view and review the configuration, review new option. Later, they will be able to do their branding and also give us their field testing so we can tune and improve. And we, of course, going to assist them with go live with the NDE, hopefully in the summer, and based depending on their maintenance and schedule to fit with the go live with the NDE. Another milestone that we are having is if you can register to get an access to a trial environment. It's going to be on our hosted. It's not going to be on your environment. The purpose of that is for you to visit or to see what is the NDE looks like, what is all about, so you can estimate and evaluate your customization efforts in the future. So there will be an option that. And of course, in our next quarterly webinar, we will have the general release, which is expected to be in the May. This is a milestone when the NDE will be open for you to start setup, view duplicate from existing view, and go ahead and plan accordingly. It's not, of course, it is not stopping in May. We have a roadmap also for the NDE after May, and what we are planning to do is to continue to deliver enhancements. After the May release, we are going to do it on a monthly basis to be able to deliver more quick, more fast changings based on feedbacks. So the mechanism will be monthly releases until the end in 2025 to be able to give resolved issue, provide more enhancement, and so this is the project plan. More things that we would like to share. We conducted a webinar, Zoom into the NDUI, where we do a demo, a detailed demo. We also would like, again, to briefly share with you, this is how the virtual will look like. I'm using the full display new enhancement that was released just to again share with you how it's going to look like. Here is again for the NDUI. If I will search now for live, you will be able to see the search results. If I filters in the resource filters bar for books, I can go into one of the records. This is how the full records display. It contains a request section, a view online section. I can collapse it, and this is how the virtual browse can look like. If I click, I can see the call number, and I can also navigate through, and I will be able to see to navigate to the next record, to the relevant record. More things, also how the recommendation by EBX and future to be also by synthetics and bound will look like. I will just go and I will go back to my search, go back to my search results. We'll filter for articles, as you can see. And then you can see that I can go ahead, enter one of the articles here, and you will be able to see the related reading coming from the BX here at the right side. Also, more suggestion can be seen here. So this is more thing that we would like to give you as a sneak peek for the NDUI. More, last time we shared with you these prototypes of the the collection discovery in the NDE. We'd like to do a brief demo. Not all functionality is still working, but let's see what is available. And also what we are heading. We implement a lot of your ideas in that. So this is how the collection lobby will look like. Of course, you can change the background. There will be a search. In a collection page, the search will be improved to reflect the search within the hierarchy. So I'm now navigating across the collections. I will enter to one of those one here, so you can see how the collection page look like. There is going to be a filters, still not implemented, but on the way. They're going to be, as I mentioned, a search within the hierarchy. So it will be a search for items here, but also item underneath. As you can see here, we are also supporting a list view. Just to mention, this is how it's look like item and sub collection, and you can see how sub collections looks like with the icon indifferent to an item over there. So just a very adjusted to experience that our user adjusted when they are encountering in and navigating in images and folders in other commercial sites. More things, so as I mentioned, the sub collection and also the item. What else did we do? So if I'm navigating in the item here, I will be able to navigate within across items within the same collection page. At the moment we don't have it, so now if I navigate to this item in the collection, when I go back, it also focus me on the item that the last visited through the navigation. So okay, so we also improve navigation cross collection items. Okay, so this is a sneak peek for the NDUI, the status of enhancements that we are working on. And now I also would like to share more about the customization framework. Of course, we are going to deliver a powerful NDE customization frameworks. So you used to do a lot of things, replace components, add components. You will be able to do it with the NDE customization framework, which is based on Angular 18, and the framework is also working with Angular Material 3. Right. So I know all of those buzz may frighten the institution with less development capability. So the status and direction that we are heading is to provide option as much as we can in configuration for those sites. So what option will be for non-developers? The library staff can do. So all of the options of replacing a logo, images, the collection background, you will have it as option in the configuration to upload the zip with the new things. You will be able to select a new theme, to brand your brand to your theme. The way the Angular is working is it's going to the way the theme is working. There is an option to select the primary color, and then Angular will generate a palette of theme that makes sure that everything will be in the right contrast and accessible. So we will provide you a pre-compiled theme palette you can choose and use, and if you don't want to use those, you can generate your own using the NDE customization framework. Of course, you will be able to customize landing page, your CSS, and even a few JavaScript code that is and not necessarily to be an Angular developer for that. More things that we are doing is to make it easy to integrate with third parties, making this available also not for developers, that library staff can very easily add adapters or add-ons from common vendors that you tend to work. We are collaborating with Browsin. So this concept we will try with Browsin and we'll continue with others. So you will have a mapping where you will be able to add adapters from the implemented by other. It can also be a framework for you as a community to share the add-ons that are used for all. And of course, if you are used to add component you want to replace, or you will be able to do that. So this is the direction with regarding to the customization frameworks. More to share about the analytics. We are keep mentioning that with the NDUI, the only analytics platform that you will have is the Mixpanel. Why did we choose Mixpanel as the next analytics framework for Primo? Is because it's dynamic and can answer a lot of your needs that with today we were a bit limited. So you will be able to have more dynamic. We can aggregate more of your data over there. You can have the option to see insight and user workflows and much enhanced reporting capability. So this is why we choose Mixpanel. We would like to thank all of you that participate in the Early Adopters Program in 2024. Today we have 50 customers working with Mixpanel on top of Primo VE, where they can see part of the event that are being sent to Mixpanel in addition to their OBI. And this helps us to develop the methods and integration with Mixpanel. It's also benefit those customers to learn more more about this. So really thank you for all of you participate. Just to make sure, when you decide to onboard with NDUI in your production, you will also get an access to a project in Mixpanel, and you can also enjoy some out-of-the-box boards that we are preparing for you and will feed you. And there is a webinar in this Wednesday. Please register to learn more about that. We'll talk that later. So what are our next steps? Of course, we are heading through May, which is the general release. We are preparing for that. Also, we are conducting our internal user studies in order to improve and tune the fields, the workflows, and to make it much more simplified. We continue to work with the focus group as enhancement will keep being delivered, and we will continue to deliver more enhancement. We are looking forward to open the NDE for our early adopters in order to start processing their feedback on that. And we are also busy with stabilizing and make it ready for the general release. As mentioned, working on integration to make it as much as we can a smooth integration for you. And we are hosting and will continue to host more webinars to help you get started, to gain much more knowledge to go with the NDE UI. So this is about the NDE UI, status of the project, milestone, and what is next. Now back to you, Sima.
Great, thanks, Nili. Okay, so we have exciting news about few documents and materials that were recently published and updated. The first one is the roadmap that we published, and we've sent you today an email about it. There are slight changes in the structure of the roadmap. The first one is that we introduce a unified roadmap for Primo and Primo VE, Primo Classic and Primo VE together. And the second change is in order to align to other Ex Libris products, such as Alma, we are introducing an 18 months roadmap document and not a year, 1 year's roadmap as we previously did. The reason is not just to align, but also for us, we wanted to provide you, the community, an insight and the main idea of our vision and how we see a little bit more far than just a year ahead. So this is about the roadmap. The second item over here is the accessibility statement and VPAT that Neely mentioned, which was published recently. And the last one is a training video, link open data. We are, from time to time, you can see that we are publishing more and more training videos. Those are very easy and nice videos that you can watch and to gain knowledge about some features. So link open data was recently published and can assist you to understand better the link open data in Primo VE. The release notes will be published soon, and we'll add hyperlinks to this presentation once it's published. I assume it will be towards the end of this week.
Okay, what's next with Mai? As we mentioned in Mai release, the general release for the NDE, we'll do a lot of will provide a lot of information. In addition to that, we continue to deliver the roadmap. One of the NARS curve is what was to deliver the A to Z as a database and journal in the database and journal search in Primo VE. This is something that users are adjusted, and we would like also to provide that in addition to the autocomplete that we already provide. More enhancement if you are using a Dublin Core application profile in order to add the local fields. Now you will be able also to adjust and see how control that, how it's going to be also visible and searchable in the discovery. And we are also intend to support Thai language for our customers in Thailand. And the next webinar. So, of course, you are welcome to join end of January our roadmap webinar. We will host it as a product panel. We'll be there to answer your questions. You are welcome, as Sirma mentioned, to have a sneak peek and read the document and gather your questions. We will be there attempting to answer and share more information. And of course, as I mentioned, more hands-on on what is Mixpanel, how it's been used, give you, we have like a training with Yoel Kurtrik, a session this Wednesday on the new user analytics with Mixpanel. Please join us. We'll be there as well to share and answer your questions. And I believe now it's also a good time to go into the question. We have few.
Neely, I will start with the questions that are related to my part. I think it's we have a sequence over here, okay? So I'll start with mine, and then you'll move on to NDEUI and the Mixpanel, okay? The first question, will the linked data still only find materials in ALMA? Is there any plan to expand this functionality to CDI records? We actually have a task to explore it. It's not that straightforward as CDI is working with different match points. We are looking into maybe using ORCID ID in order to align CDI inside the link open data functionality. This is definitely something that we're looking into. But currently, link open data is working on bibliographic records that are coming from ALMA. Another question about link open data. Does it mean that we can use any additional vocabularies from the CZ, from the community zone, or do we need to use local authority records? You need to use it doesn't work with local authority records. This is a great question. We use the list of authority types that I just presented that you can see also in the documentation. Those are available in the CZ as well. Is this opt-in or new feature in Primo Research Assistant? The Primo Research Assistant is a new feature that was introduced in September. It is not enabled by default. You need to go ahead and enable it per view. It's in the view setup. The enhancements that I presented are, let's review them briefly. We had, one second, we had 3 different enhancements. The first one was the refined search, the filtering button, which will be available for everyone. The next enhancement was the sources above overview, the repositioning of order. This is also available for everyone. And the third enhancement was how to cite indication. this is needed to be configured by the site, by you. Regarding the research assistant, wait a minute, I cannot see it. Regarding the research assistant, will you allow users to select more than one resource type at the same time? For example, books and dissertation and book chapters together. No, currently we allow the user to select one resource type at a time. This is a kind of a limitation that the API was challenging us. We might change it in the future. However, for now, both the manual application of the refined search using the drop downs and the automatic application of the refined search both work with one resource type at a time. And now, Nili, over to you. Do you need me to read the questions, or you
No,
will?
it's okay. I will try even to group so and answer as much as we can. So one of the question, is there a forced migration date for the NDE? And if so, what is the date? We are not forcing, but we do recommend, and we would like you to understand the NDE UI is going to be the new interface for the Primo VE customers. Okay, so we write even in the documentation, you can start evaluate it with Mai, and you have 2 years up to 3 years to plan. We will not go with the direction as today that migrating from the previous UI took more than 6 years. I think it's going to benefit the entire community to have to shorten the process, to make it as much more easier, and you will find that the integration is not as heavy as like moving from the Primo Classic to the Primo VE. All of the data, if you're a Primo VE customer, all of your data is being normalized, is already there. So planning, move to the interface, and we are building the process to utilize as much as more configuration as you have with new option in configuration. We do aware the challenge is customization. And this is why we're trying to simplify integration with third parties, and we also will do a lot of training. We will work to help with customization as well. So this is, I think that I'll try to group here some questions about the future interface, about the timeline, and the approach to go with that. So again, one of the questions, will be able to keep the existing customization after transition to NDE, as unfortunately your existing customization written in Angular.js will not be supported for the Angular material. You will need to rewrite, but we also invite you to revisit and see what did you customize, maybe maybe your customization or the approach as part of the things, like we provide configuration to collapse and expand and all of that, or grouping action as we do a lot of things. So we want you to evaluate and help us to make it easy for much more customers. Okay, another question. Is Mixpanel going to replace the Primo Analytics entirely? So yeah, if you are on board with NDUI, the only analytics platform for you will be a Mixpanel until we have all of you on board with the NDUI. We'll of course will have more, and but yeah, it's going to replace the OBE UI. This is our vision with the analytics. Can I try the NDE, or do I have to be an early adopter for now? Yeah, for now you need to be an early adopter. You will be able to try it with the My release. It will be easy for you to duplicate your existing view and right immediately to start evaluate it even in your production. So we will publish setup and guidelines how to do that. But yeah, with My you will be able to do that. Additional, can you mention a few examples of the filters to come in the collection discovery? Actually, I'm not in the details which filters are going to be supported for the collections. we intend to have, I'm not sure if all of them will be supported, but I can't answer that right now. Sorry. Can you please show how filter location for physical items within the four records will display? So this is part of the location. We may conduct additional hosting in additional webinar in March to again do additional zoom into the new UI with more details and option, and with also more explanation about customization. So more question like this can be answered in that question. Is a virtual browse based on call number? Is there any way to include ebooks in there as well? So what we are providing is the same functionality of virtual browse, relying on the Alma API that are based on call number. They are giving us the structure. If we would like to include ebooks to the virtual browse, this is considered to be an enhancement. Now with the new curve and new enhancement, I suggest to go over there and suggest that idea. Give us more details and we can estimate and elaborate it more on that. More. There is a question, does NDE replace CDE? I'm not sure I understand, maybe CDI, it's totally, and NDE is the next discovery, the shortcut for the next discovery experience, is the umbrella that we choose for the project of improving in the UX experience, improving in the analytics, improving in the research assistant and AI related, and improving in the link data area. I think that back into the top link data, let's see if there are more questions added. Limited to resource. Okay, so I think that I went to all of your questions.
There are a few more about the link open data. Does VIA use one authority record to match, or can it use many fields? We are looking for a match based on the ID. We are converting from LC ID to the relevant GND, BNF, etc. ID. If there is more than one authority that is linked to the bibliographic record heading, then we're looking for more than one ID. Another question is limit by resource type books in Primo Research Assistant. Is it only CDI ebooks, correct? If yes, are there plans to include local materials when searching via Research Assistant? Currently, Research Assistant is looking into CDI records. We have an open task to analyze how we can include also local records. I think this is included in the roadmap for 2026. We cannot commit to it yet because we don't know how the data, the local data, always look like. It might affect significantly on the overview. So it requires much more investigation on our end, but it is something that we heard a lot from you and we are considering in the future. There is a question about the timelines of the installation. If production installation is going to take place February 9. I'm just checking. Yes, it's February 9. And you can see it. There is a dedicated page both for Primo Classic and Primo VE. There is release schedule. You can search in Google release schedule, Primo or Primo VE, and you'll find it. I think that's it, right, Neely? Anything else? Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. We'll continue to see you in the other, remember the webinar on Wednesday to join us, and the roadmap webinar. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.